In a bustling anthill located in the heart of a dense forest, there lived an ant named Antony. Unlike his fellow ants, who were all diligent and focused on their work, Antony was a bit of a dreamer. He wasn't lazy, he just had a knack for getting into hilarious situations. One sunny morning, as the other ants were marching in perfect lines, Antony was lost in thought, imagining himself as a heroic explorer discovering new lands. Distracted by his daydreams, Antony didn't notice that he had wandered far from the ant trail and found himself in the middle of a field of tall grass. This place looks new. I bet I'm the first ant to ever come here, Antony thought to himself, puffing out his chest with pride. Little did he know, he was just a few inches away from the main ant trail, and every other ant had passed by this new place hundreds of times. As Antony ventured further, he suddenly stumbled upon a gigantic object blocking his path. It was smooth, round, and seemed to be made of some shiny material. "This must be a treasure," Antony exclaimed. In reality, it was just a small marble that a child had dropped, but to Antony, it was a precious artifact. Determined to bring this treasure back to the colony, Antony pushed and pulled with all his might. Unfortunately, the marble was far too heavy for him to move. But Antony, being the stubborn ant he was, refused to give up. He decided to climb on top of the marble to get a better look around. As Antony reached the top, he felt a strange sensation. He was moving. The marble, which was resting on a slight incline, had started to roll, taking Antony along for the ride. "Whee!" Antony shouted, enjoying the unexpected roller coaster. But his excitement quickly turned to panic as the marble picked up speed and headed straight for the anthill. Inside the anthill, the other ants were busy working when they heard a strange rumbling sound. "What's that noise?" one ant asked. Before anyone could answer, the marble crashed through the entrance, sending ants scattering in all directions. The marble rolled to a stop in the center of the hill, and Antony tumbled off, dizzy but unharmed. "Antony, what have you done?" the queen ant demanded, glaring at him. "You've nearly destroyed our home." Antony rubbed his head, still dazed from the ride. I found a treasure, Your Majesty. I thought it could be useful," he said sheepishly. The queen sighed. "Antony, you have a good heart, but you need to think before you act. Now help us fix the mess you've made." Feeling guilty, Antony joined the other ants in repairing the damage. As they worked, Antony couldn't help but notice how strong and coordinated the other ants were. They didn't need to find treasures or go on wild adventures. They were content just doing their jobs and working together. Determined to prove himself, Antony decided to take his duties more seriously. The next day, he joined the foraging team, eager to contribute to the colony. However, Antony's knack for getting into trouble wasn't quite done with him yet. While out foraging, Antony spotted a delicious-looking crumb of cake. It was far larger than anything the other ants had found, and Antony was determined to bring it back by himself. He struggled and strained, dragging the crumb inch by inch. But the crumb was so heavy that Antony didn't notice the shadow looming over him until it was too late. A curious beetle, much larger than Antony, had spotted the cake crumb and decided it wanted a taste. The beetle grabbed the crumb and Antony with it. "Help!" Antony squeaked, dangling from the crumb as the beetle carried it away. The other ants heard Antony's cries and rushed to his aid. A brave group of soldier ants confronted the beetle, waving their antennae and clicking their mandibles threateningly. The beetle, startled by the sudden show of force, dropped the crumb and scurried away. Antony landed with a thud, grateful but embarrassed. "Thanks, everyone," he said, dusting himself off. "I guess I got a little carried away." The ants laughed, and one of them patted Antony on the back. "Don't worry, Antony. You may get into trouble, but you've got spirit. Just remember, it's better to work together than to try and do everything on your own." From that day on, Antony became a more thoughtful and responsible ant. He still had his moments of daydreaming and getting into mischief, but he always remembered the importance of teamwork. And while he might never be the best forager or the strongest worker, Antony found his own special place in the colony as the ant who could always make everyone laugh. And so, life in the anthill returned to normal, with Antony's misadventures becoming a source of endless amusement for his fellow ants. Every time something strange or funny happened, the ants would say, "Looks like Antony's at it again." And Antony, ever the good sport, would just smile and shrug. After all, life was more fun with a little laughter.
Please like and subscribe our channel.